Welcome to the women's program of Oroville Radio.
Something he can't see.
Welcome to listen to my words about how it is to be a woman, which benefits we have, which powers.
My baby is chaos.
From the land of the dream, Oroville, in Tamil Nadu, southeastern India, Bay of Bengal. Beautiful place, beautiful people. Welcome to know more about cyclical awareness, menstruality. Welcome all, welcome women, welcome men, welcome everyone. No matter which gender is yours, I believe what I say is relevant for everyone. Because women are those who give life, to give birth. We all come from a woman, from a mother. And here in the mother's land, that's so evident, so important to honor the woman as a fertile creature, as a creative being. That's why I'm here. And specifically, speaking about creativity, fertility, cyclical awareness, I'd like to come back to the theme of menstruation, of periods, this time in relationship with emotions, something I didn't discuss in the previous episodes of this program. You can find the previous podcast on Oroville Radio. So last time I was talking about why it's important to chart our own body, mind, spirit, organism on a daily basis for months, for, having a collection of data related to your own body changes. In relationship with the menstrual blood charting, there's 4 things that we need to do. So before speaking about emotions, let's see what do we need to chart as far as menstrual blood is concerned. Well, you have to observe it every month, of course, because it's there for you to get in contact with it. It's not there for being able to give birth to people, to children. Otherwise, we wouldn't have 1, 2, 3 children. We'll have many more. But luckily, this power is transferred and experienced in many, many different ways, not just for the conceptions of children, which is an absolutely wonderful thing, because we all come from that, but not the only wonderful thing we can do as women. In particular, when you bleed, you want to know the quantity of your blood, and you can do that by observing how much flow is coming. Is it low, abundant, normal, or hemorrhagic? Normal. What's normal? Normal is such a stupid word. It's so unnormal, uncommon to speak about the normal. Normal doesn't exist. But if we want to find an average of, to give an indicator of health, that's important, yeah? So here we're speaking about a quantity that is between 40 ml up to 80 ml if you're more towards the abundant one. And what is this 40 ml, 80 ml? It's a cup of coffee in the end. Cup of tea? Not so much. It depends which tea you have. Not a full mug, because there we go for the 100 and 200 ml, and that's too much, way too much. So, we women, when we're disconnected from our periods, we believe that once the periods start, the sink is open and there's, this waterfall, this blood fall going on and on with no pause, no interruption. It just flows. It's not like that. There is a rhythm within the woman's body, especially when she's rested, when she's fine, when she's healthy. That is a kind of release happening every hour, every 45 minutes, something like that. And the release, the flow itself doesn't last long. It lasts for 5 minutes, usually, kind of. 3 to 10 minutes, sometimes even less, but not so long when we are in a healthy condition. So this famous normal. Yeah. So there we go. We have like 5 minutes flow release, and then some 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 minutes with no flow at all. And then again, another 5 minutes. If you get in contact with this, with the quantity and the rhythm of the flow, you could potentially explore the free flow. I don't know if you've ever heard of free flow. Free flow is the way women manage their periods without any external tool, such as pads or cups or tampons, but just by bringing the awareness on when this happens and being ready to let go in a garden or in the bathroom, according to where you are, and keep it in. So free flow comes after a while that you have been in contact with your own periods, with your own menstruality. I wouldn't suggest to start with it straightforward once you listen to me, but to first observe. So observe the quantity, number 1. Number 2, observe the quality. And we have 3 quality here, actually. There are 3 kinds of quality. The first of the 3 could be the smell. How does it smell like? What's the smell of your own blood? It's something that causes a lot of embarrassment because you don't want to speak about these things. It's such a, taboo. We don't want to know what's the smell of your own menstrual blood, where there's nothing wrong with it, because this is the source of life. So we should actually be, speaking about the smell of our blood without any trouble. It's just normal. It's just okay. And it's through the smell that you can understand if you're healthy or not, if there's something wrong with your body, mind, health, or if everything's okay. So it's a kind of self-diagnosis opportunity each and every time. And I find it brilliant because I believe it's one of the reasons why women live longer than men, because we could have the opportunity to check up the whole body-mind system every month through the blood release, by understanding which quality we carry on the blood itself, which is ultimately the byproduct of all the other body functions, organs, emotions, etc. As far as the smell is concerned, you could have an iron-like smell. Blood is full of iron, so of course there can be this tendency. It can be also a bit acidic, quite not okay. It could be even stinking, and that's absolutely not okay. Something's wrong with the bioprocess of these organs I mentioned before, of your emotion. Or it could be smellless, completely, absent, no smell at all. Everything's possible. Check it out. How does it smell like? And the more you're in contact with it, the more you can smell the different layers, levels, and qualities of yours. The third quality we analyze is the color. Color is so evident because it comes out, and it's the first thing that women kind of connect with. The color of blood is not the color of water, is evidently quite an intense color, is a red color. So it could be bright red, the best and healthy menstrual blood, but sometimes not like that, and many women don't experience the bright red because of, again, some toxins and other reasons I will analyze with you later on. But it could happen to be dark red. It could happen to be pinkish, sometimes kind of diluted with water or something else. Or, maroon, brownish, red. There's so many varieties between the bright red and the dark red and the brown. You could have, a palette. We could speak about the menstrual palette. Let's make it funny. So what's the color of your menstrual blood? We'll speak about this soon. Fourth, and very important quality again, the texture. How does it feel like? Which is the texture of your own menstrual blood? Is it really liquid? Or do you find any dense body within the flow, like clots? Do you have clots? Is it dense? Is it liquid like water? Or is it kind of mucus? There's mucosity, like, the mucus you may have in other phases, like in ovulation. That's very evident. The vaginal discharge of ovulation, the egg white, the transparent one. Do you find this in your menstrual blood? How does it look like literally? And when you have a total understanding on how it is, what's your opinion about it? Is it in the average, meaning normal 40 to 80 ml, little iron smelling but not so much, bright red and liquid, or far away from what I just said? Check it out and start to understand that whatever your menstrual blood carries, it's extremely important, because your menstrual blood tells you about the health of your organs, and your organs are nourished by food, emotions, and energy. Ultimately, your menstrual blood is the result of the food you take, the emotions you process, and the energy you go through. Throughout the month, throughout the cycle. In the end of the cycle, you have this result. It's kind of a test you can get. How was my month like? Well, my menstrual blood will tell me. Why? Because each and every organ function is influenced by an emotion and can be aggravated by a specific emotion. That's what I want to talk about today. This is an inspirational thing coming from traditional Chinese medicine. I believe that all women, every woman should know this, because it changed my life. I started doing, self-diagnosis of myself. I started, relating my emotional health, my emotional body with my menstrual health. And that changed a lot, because I started preventing. I started being much more aware and having less problems than before. So, Chinese traditions have this link between organ and emotion, but not just the Chinese. I believe everyone, even in India with Ayurveda, Siddha medicine, there's a connection with it. And in any other indigenous culture, you find this. You find, for example, that an excess of sadness or an unprocessed sadness aggravates the function of your lungs. So sadness is the emotion that aggravates the lung. And you would say, what's the relationship between the lungs and my menstrual blood? I just told you, the menstrual blood is the ultimate byproduct of the whole of the organic functions. All the organs play a crucial role for ultimately producing the menstrual blood, the tissue of your fertility, of your reproductive system. So everything's interwoven with each other. And lungs in specific, both in Ayurveda and Chinese medicine, are believed to be the administrator of what in Ayurveda is kapha, and what in traditional Chinese medicine is more related to the mucosity. So to the administration, again, of that kind of water body that is a little dense, what we call mucus, in and around the body. So in and around the lungs and the other organs, uterus included, and vagina included, which is just below the uterus. So when you have an altered vaginal mucus or excessive mucosity in the menstrual phase, there's definitely a connection with the lungs administration. This means that a sadness could have been not processed, or could have been, standing there, stagnating there, aggravating the mucus. The mucus becomes excessive, and so many women experience this because lungs are in charge of lubrication, and lubrication is crucial also in the vaginal canal. This could also be seen on the other hand. So I said altered vaginal mucus in menstruation or in other phases, but not necessarily related to menstruation. This could be related to any time of the phase of the cycle of the life. For example, menopausal women sometimes experience vaginal dryness, and doctors say, yeah, it's because of the scarcity of vitamin E. Yeah, okay, but how it is emotionally? Is it linked to a sadness that a woman is trying to process, but it causes her unbalances within, or something that she doesn't want to see? You check it out, how your sadness affects your mucus vaginal discharge in menstruation and in other phases of your cycle, of your life in general. Many times when we process a sadness, the chronic vaginal disorders such as candidosis get healed suddenly. Ta-da! And there we go, from lungs and sadness to heart and stress and anxiety. And you would say, but heart is not an organ. Of course it's not, according to Western contemporary medicine. But yeah, we're speaking about the function here. So take it as an organ, even if it's a muscle. Take it as right. So stress and anxiety aggravate your heart. This is quite obvious. When you're stressed and you're anxious, you may experience also arrhythmia, or you say, oh, my heart, I can't make it. I'm too stressed. And how does this affect our cycle? And it's so bad because so women are affected by stress and anxiety in today's society. Wherever you are, you may be in Oroville, in New York, in Rome, Paris, wherever. It's, beyond any border. Late menstruation, no ovulation. Well, this stress or this anxiety takes so much energy from the body that doesn't allow the body to bleed. It takes the energy to bleed away from that. And this could come from any kind of pain, for example, a pain in a relationship. Women who are stressed in a relationship that is actually ending, but trying to make it go on with no real goal. Or any other stress related to family, to the loss of someone, to children, parents, relatives, money. How many things make you stressed? And any time you find yourself anxious, can you find the reason for that? Check it out and bear in mind that this is affecting your heart and ultimately the rhythm, because the heart is the pump. And what does the pump do? It marks the rhythm. Pum-pum, pum-pum, pum-pum. Yeah, and that's the rhythm of life. It's the pulse, the pulsation of life. And what's the womb? The womb is another heart in the end of the day, because its pulsation can give a rhythm, can give a cycle of life. As the cycle of the heart, we have the cycle of the womb. And yeah, we have the cycle with menstruation, ovulation, the two polarities, the full moon and new moon we saw together in the past episodes. Yeah, again. So stress is not allowing the pulsation to be there. There's no rhythm. The rhythm is altered. And there you go with the absence of periods, or, waiting forever for periods. Which day are you on today? Day 47. Well, come on, can't be 47. Find the reason of your stress and relax. Find ways to relax, to take a pause, and to see what's the origin of your stress. That's interesting. And from here we step into another very, very common emotional state, unfortunately. Anger. How many times you get angry? For which reason? So many reasons we have to get angry. Still, 2021, pandemic, locked in, locked down, wherever you are. Are you still angry for that? You may have many other reasonable reasons. This could be just one of them. What is the organ aggravated by anger? It goes together with frustration, indeed, and it's the liver. The liver, that amazing pump that, according to Chinese medicine, is related to the element of wood because of its capacity to expand, like trees expand and give life and leaves and flowers and fruits and just go expanding through their branches. According to Ayurveda, the liver is more linked to the element of fire and the capacity to regulate the metabolism and burn what's not relevant, what is relevant, process. So the alchemy of the liver is associated to fire in Ayurveda. But everyone agrees on the fact that anger and frustration, when anger in general, especially when it's not expressed, when it's repressed, compressed within the body, and frustration, ultimately, when it's there, they both aggravate the function of the organ of liver. This is very common. I know many women having this, and I can tell you so many times about, my own angry processes aggravating my liver. And you can find the result of this aggravation in your own cycle in the blood. Yes, in the menstrual blood, when it is dark. How many times is not bright red? Yeah, those times. When it carries clots, blood clots, so densities, kind of, they say, oh no, but they are pieces of endometrium. They're not pieces of endometrium, darling. This is a blood that is not healthy. It's thick and it's also heavy to discharge because the cervix has to open up quite a lot to let these bodies come out, and this may cause pain within the abdomen. Also, it may cause cramps. So pain in general is associated to the aggravation of liver. Menstrual pain, premenstrual pain, and when the color of your blood is iron-like, also dark and iron-like, again, you have a liver aggravation. Yeah, you have to remember that liver is the general blood administrator. So it's responsible for the administration of blood, and the whole body requires blood in many, many areas of yours. And I remind you that the organs that ask for the highest amount of blood in the body is the brain. And the brain is utterly overused nowadays. We use it too much. We are always thinking and doing and planning projects, whatever, more and more. And this requires a very high amount of blood. And where does it take it from? Where does the liver takes this blood from, especially in the premenstrual and menstrual phase? If the mind, especially the brain functions, requires a high amount of blood, it has to be taken from somewhere. And the one that has to renounce to their own amount of blood will be the uterus, of course. It will be, okay, I'll self-sacrifice myself for you. I'm very kind. And the brain will say, yeah, thank you. I can go on with my mental processes and my intellectual things. I'm a, intelligent woman. And then you end up having troubles. You end up having bad blood. You end up having pain, feeling pain. That's not nice. It's not normal to feel pain. This is something that needs to be stated every time. Feeling pain, it's not okay. Especially when this pain is not a subtle and temporary one, when it gets longer. And with longer, I mean cramps that are, repetitive and getting longer than 5, 10, 20 minutes. 30 minutes pain and beyond 30 minutes pain is definitely a pathological pain. It's not okay. It's not normal. So go check yourself out. Don't keep on suffering just for the sake of being, a martyr woman. You're not. You want to be happy. You want to be healthy. So bear in mind that suffering during periods is not normal. It's normalized because we've been told that, yeah, women, you have to suffer, but it's not normal. In the end of the day, it's just an assumption, a cultural conditioning through which we all were raised and kind of imbibed wherever we were born and raised. It's quite an international thing, no matter which religion and background you have. And yeah, anger, frustration. What is frustration? Because frustration is linked to anger, but it's different. It's not the same. I like to speak about frustration as something like a unprocessed anger, a sense of impossibility, a sense of compression within that causes me an internal burning that doesn't allow me to live happily and freely. That's frustration. And you can list quite a long thing, a long list of elements that cause frustration in women's life in patriarchal society, where there is no equality and no honoring of the diversity yet. Not yet. We're going there slowly, but we're going there. So check these emotions out and observe how and when this affects your own blood. If your blood shows these symptoms, it's relevant for you to think about this, to connect with this, and observe if there can be possible healing, emotional healing. From where? How? Check this out. And from anger, we step into another very common emotional area related to the spleen, to the aggravation of our spleen organ. I'm speaking about the worries, obsessions, attachment to the past, and jealousy, which is in the end connected with all this. So whenever you experience excessive worries, repetitive thoughts that becomes ultimately obsessions, and any kind of attachment, this can aggravate your spleen. Usually it does aggravate your spleen and creates results in your blood. That becomes very abundant and hemorrhagic. What is an abundant flow? We said more than a coffee cup, more than a little teacup, because the menstrual flow normality is 40 to 80 ml. When it's more than that, and you have to use thousands of pads and pads and pads and cups for days and days, no way, it's not normal. It's definitely abundant or hemorrhagic. Even the number of days sometimes. The number of days is not the way you find the real quantity, because what happens is that due to stress, again, heart aggravation of your own rhythm, your body doesn't have the time to bleed. So what happens usually in women is that they stop bleeding for half day or a few hours or an entire day, and then they get to bleeding again. They start bleeding again. So this causes a long process. Instead of being 3 days, 3 normal bleeding days, it becomes 1 week. Never ending. So beginning, stopping, pausing, restarting, again bleeding, and then something else stressful comes up, and again stopping, and go on and on. But when it's not like this, so when you don't have this experience, but you really have an abundant flow, that you really have to have a lot of products for blood management, like pads, tampons, or cups, etc., then you need to check out the theme of worries, obsession, and jealousy, attachment, whatever aggravates your spleen. The spleen aggravation doesn't necessarily come with hemorrhagic flow. It can also result in the taste and smell of your blood. It can be very, very sweet. When it's excessively sweet, and say like, wow, such a strange sweet smell. Is it my blood? Yeah, there's something wrong. And in the theme of sweets also, I'd like to link this with the PMS, premenstrual syndrome, and the craving for sweets and chocolates in the premenstrual syndrome in the premenstrual phase, the luteal phase. Usually this is happening when there is problems related to attachment, and family is the best playground for, exercising our attachments. Family meaning partners, parents, children, relatives, whoever is there for us to exercise all the capacity to detach. Let's take it ironically here. Craving for sweets and chocolate. How many of you experience this in that period, in their cycle, in the menstrual time, in the menstrual time. And there's always someone telling me, no, but chocolate is okay for women because we need iron and magnesium and blah, 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 blah. And, chocolate is full of minerals, and that's what we need. Yeah, I understand. It's not chocolate that is full of minerals. It's cacao that is full of minerals. Chocolate has sugar. That's why you want to have it. Maybe you don't know. You're not aware of it. But it's the sugar that causes the problems. It's not the cacao. Because, you want to mineralize yourself and get a good quantity of iron and magnesium. Yeah, make a beautiful and amazing cocoa drink like the Mayan and Aztec and other pre-Columbian population used to do. It didn't used to be a sugary thing. And check out if you still like it. Usually it's not the same as the chocolate bars we get anywhere. The craving is for the sweet. There is the cacao thing, but the association with the sweet flavor and the sweet flavor in general, cakes and snacks and all, carbohydrates like, pasta, pizza, all these kind of things, they're all together, they go all together. It comes from the necessity for a woman to ground herself. I like also the Ayurvedic explanation of this. When you're kapha, that's your water and earth element together, the dosha of the combination of earth and water, kapha. When your kapha is lacking or not very grounded, so not very present and triggered by an excessive vata, that is air and space, so movement, like thoughts are, internal mind movement, excessive mind movement. Your body asks you to ground itself. And again, it gets to the cravings of sweet flavor, because sweet is a very grounding flavor. It's very anti-vata. It has the ability to pull you down. But why do you have to be pulled down? Can you prevent this? Can you avoid to go into the kapha-vata imbalance by reducing the vata before? So ultimately by connecting with your body, mind, spirit, organism, and try and regulate the flow of your thoughts. And try and work your worries out. Try and work your obsessions out. Try to get rid of them. Why are you stuck there? What makes you be stuck there? These are the questions you have to ask yourself, rather than buying the chocolate and eating it from morning to evening, or, in any way you do it. I'm not saying that sweet is wrong, that chocolate's bad. There is time to have this and time not to have this. You know within yourself when is the craving and when is the kind of bulimic taste and way of eating. Check this out and pay some homage to your spleen, because it's important. And then last but not least, one of the most important organs in the woman's body, in the cycle especially, is the kidney. Kidneys. Those who practice yoga with me know that I am in love with the kidneys, especially as far as restorative yoga is concerned, because these two guys behind us, they carry so much and they have the power to make us rest. They are our power bank. They are our capacity to be up, to be alive, to be energetic, or vice versa, to feel very tired and destroyed sometimes. Kidneys. What is the emotional theme and environment that aggravates the kidneys, the kidney function? I remind you that kidneys are the regulator of water. In Ayurveda, we speak about apana vayu, the descending flow, the energy that flows down. So kidneys regulate a lot of function in the pelvis, in the capacity to walk, in the back, pee, orgasm, menstrual flow. All this is related to kidneys. Kidneys are really suffering when you experience fears. and when you happen to have deep, intense fears in the body, and you can't process them, you can't move further, move on. Why? Why fears aggravate? Well, fears are holding you back. Kidneys make you go further, make you go forward. So when you're held back, you can't move forward. So in the end of the day, you have a bad result in your menstrual flow. And what is it? What is this result, this physical thing that you need to know? I said that it regulates water. So you may have more water in the blood, a diluted blood, where the color again is not bright red, but it becomes pinkish, it's diluted. Or vice versa. As it's a low water quantity, low quantity in general, it may have dry consistency, dry texture. Another thing that's caused by kidneys dysfunction is so common. I don't know a woman who never experienced this. And this is spotting. Spotting can happen in any phase of your cycle, before periods, during periods, after periods, in ovulation, in many reasons and places, but generally in and around menstrual phase. With spotting, I mean, little drops of blood coming out, alternated by pauses. So when there is no flow, when there is no direct flow of, the release is not there. There is a kind of a rhythm that is altered. And a flow that has a lot of difficulties in starting, because there is this 1-2 days of spotting, even longer sometimes. Or it's never ending. It's never ending because you keep on spotting and you keep on changing underwear because you don't expect it, and then another drop. Yeah, that's it. Spotting, alteration of the quantity, diluted blood, acidic smell also, because there's water dysfunction again. Yeah, so check your fears out. Which fears are you experiencing right now? Do you have any? What is holding you back from bleeding, from letting go? Sometimes it's not necessarily related with fears, but just by the physical dysfunction of the woman's body that is asking herself to work too much, to do too much, to go far beyond her possibility, depleting her own kidneys that I said are the power banks. When the power banks run off and there's no UPS, you're not going to work anymore, darling. So you need to prevent this. You need to get in contact with your batteries, your kidneys, far before the power bank's off, far before you try and look for a UPS. You will not find it in a cup of coffee. You will not find it in any other substance. You will find it in rest, in the power of rest. For that, I suggest you do some yoga nidra, some deep relaxation, powerful relaxation. Relaxation is amazing because it can help your own body to regenerate. Each and every cell of yours can regenerate, get restored, become reborn just by resting. Isn't it amazing? No medicine, no particular effort, just resting, but daily and in the right quantity, in the right rhythm, taking rest as a medicine. Off you go. I got a kind of long panorama of this today. Usually I speak for much shorter time. I hope this was not very boring for you. My advice in the end are to check your nutrition, to check your energy by doing good breathing, so breathing well, and maybe doing some breath work, and potentiating your energy level by doing things that are potentially positive affirmation, positive activities, and again, emotional awareness. Check out the sadness, stress and anxiety, anger, frustration, worries, obsessions, fears. we'll speak about the positive side in the next episode. Off you go with all this. Thank you for listening. Thank you so much.